Hold on. Let's bring in TK's here. We gotta let's I gotta remember where that switch is so you could see.
Man.
Here's
Come
Trysta
on,
Krick,
man.
aka Butcher Girl. What you doing, man?
Come on, man.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? No, what are you doing? You guys, you did that to yourself.
You
What
got
are
legit
you
tears in your eyes. That's the funny part. You got legit tears in your eyes.
I saw you respond to it as I did it, so it was just so funny.
Oh, that's
was
so
funny.
great.
No, what are you guys booking us back to back for? You knew that was gonna make.
Strategic.
Oh God.
I'm here for content creation. I'm here for this moment right here.
No, I never worked that out.
I almost jumped on right then. I almost saw it, and I just almost clicked the link.
Oh, you should have done
Yeah,
it.
you
That
should have.
I can't lie. Part of me was hoping you would. We could have hashed
Oh,
everything
man.
out on the air.
Oh man.
One of these days.
The lies that he spews to you guys and tones down his fandom is so annoying.
Trysta.
Go get him, Chatty House. He was mean to me.
So reset this.
I still believe one day we'll all come together.
Reset this whole thing. Where does the, pardon the pun, beef emanate with you and Butcher Boy?
9-1.
9-1. That's where it started.
9-1. Warriors will not. 9-1.
Went
You
viral
will.
over 9-1.
Andy Lou, Light Years podcast, friend of show. Knew him before he wrote that tweet. Had been on the pod. He writes the tweet. Warriors last year. Warriors should go 9-1 even without Clay. Post the schedule. I see that it's Andy. He's a friend. So it was really just designed to make fun of Andy. Because, again, it would be like if y'all did it, right? Like if a King should go 9-1 without Sabonis. And it's like, really? So I'm like, this is why we don't like the Warriors fan base. Because this is what they say. They say these lunacy takes. So I gave this, well, you could go 5-5, could go 6-4, but 9-1, you will not be. We went through the schedule thing. I didn't expect anything of it. It was the most mild take that went viral I've ever had. They do go 9-1. Steph saw the video, went for 50 in the 10th game. You don't think that was a coincidence. So then it goes on NBC's Bay Area. They play it. It's the whole thing. Why? Who knows? Who am I? Do you care, really? Like, I'm nobody to be worried about my little, like, very mild take.
That's Cap. Interesting.
You are big time.
And then they put me on their show, and then it started hostile and stayed hostile from there. And for whatever reason, he didn't like the joke and was like, everybody's disrespecting us and this. And I was like, the fact that I didn't think you would go 9-1 is disrespect. Like, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy.
They are. And like I said, Butcher Boy, that's my guy. I've known Butcher Boy for years. That's my man's in them. So I'm not talking about him specifically. But that is the whiniest fan base I've ever come across, especially for a team that has won as much as they complain and cry constantly. It's ridiculous. And I say all the time, Trysta, and I maybe I'm sure, you know, it's the same in other fan bases, but it springs from these are Warriors fans, not basketball fans. Like, they don't watch basketball. They don't necessarily like basketball. They like the Warriors. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that lends itself to all the whining and the crying and complaining that you get from them on a routine basis.
And just the fact that, like, largely I can't take you seriously because you don't know anything about the game of basketball as a whole. You know about your team. And also, and this goes directly to them, they were stumping on that hit for our guy, James Wiseman. They were trying to tell me he was going to be a playoff impact player, and that I was like, you know, he's a bust, right? Like, we can both all agree that James Wiseman's going to be a bust for this team. Like, he's not doing. And it was like I said, it was almost like an atheist versus like a Orthodox Christian. It was like burn her at the stake. It was crazy. Then there was like a little Twitter back and forth because he went to the game with his jersey on as a working media member and was telling everyone on Twitter how exciting the game was and how they're the best fan base and the environment. And I was like, bruh, like what is going? And then he came at me with all caps and then said that was his bit, all caps. I'm like, dude, you're a clown.
We're gonna get y'all together.
Yeah, we all gonna get together. Butcher Boy's my guy, Monte's my guy, Trysta.
Was that was like Cameron was like, it's burning, and she's like, oh, yeah, you're a clown, and then she hangs up on him. It was like that. Yeah, I burnt you. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Trysta Krick here.
Like your style. That's why I burnt you. Getting hot.
Oh, Trysta.
Oh. Nice jacket. I caught that on there.
Before me, you don't think it's gonna get crazy? Come on. And he tried to come on with you guys all tepid. He was like, oh yeah, the thing I really understand, about some Warriors fans, not me though. It's like, what? No, that you are them. You are them. That's what the morning roast is.
Well, okay, clearly.
I feel the way about him that you guys feel about my co-host.
Oh, well, that guy.
Oh,
Butcher Boy ain't him.
No, he ain't.
Butcher Boy is not him.
He ain't him. But oh man,
it's not him. That guy.
Because I do not think highly of your co-host whatsoever.
And I tell Trysta,
you didn't think that based on what I just said that's
yeah, I got that.
I tell Trysta all the time we're gonna get together and we all gonna make it happen. But at the same time, I don't think me and Coffee Boy are ever getting together.
Well, there's that.
So how can I tell her to get together?
Yeah, there's that. Some beefs just live eternal. And D'Lo and KC versus Coffee Boy and Trysta Krick versus Butcher Boy. Maybe that
Butcher Girl. That's me. If I ever want to move to the West Coast, that'll be my radio name.
Butcher Girl. Okay. Well, you're always welcome on the West Coast. You'll be here this weekend to see the Sacramento Kings take on the Golden State Warriors. Trysta will actually be covering games 1 through 4. So the Kings will just get it done in 4.
Yeah.
So Trysta can be a part of it all.
Let's just sweep them.
Let's sweep them. Trysta, are you ready for what you're about to embark on? This is like, I mean, what we've had to go through, and it's halfway through the second show of the week. Craziness. It's crazy. This is going to be craziness.
I hate it. I already hate it. You can just feel the tension building. It's a David versus a washed Goliath story. It's just I'm like a little worried though. It's making me concerned. There's elements. Draymond's already talking about killing your spirit, and his game 1's all about killing the king's spirit. You can't let them gain confidence. They don't have any experience. So we have to make sure we kill their spirit.
Well, I actually understand what he means by that. Like they could absolutely do that. I don't think that they could because there is a game 2, but I understand the context of what he's saying.
I absolutely understand the context, and he's trying to psych himself out already. He know they're not better. He sees the end.
Trying to hype himself
that's
up,
one of them guys that sees the end. It's over. It is over. So now we got to resort to these little things like when you better. Kevin Durant Warriors didn't have to say, well, we've got to beat Houston in game 1 to kill their spirit. No, we're better. That's that. We ain't got to do all that. We're better.
Well, he's also got to get people to listen to this podcast. That's the other thing that makes this whole thing difficult with like I believe Draymond's genuine usually when he speaks. I just think he talks, but like now he's pushing pods. So you kind of it's kind of like, all right, what are we talking about right now? We're talking about podcast.
Yeah.
Your vibes are weird, and I know it's the Butcher Boy thing.
Up.
Like, yeah, I don't.
Well, here's how it started. You guys want to know how the day started?
Yes, like we need to cleanse this. I don't like this. We're gonna see you in a few days. Everything should feel different.
It's not towards you. It's just
it started last night. I know it started last night.
Yes.
Yeah. It started last night, and it's
so here's should I like let people behind the curtain?
Probably not.
No,
maybe
don't go.
maybe
Don't go.
maybe
Don't
we
go
Let me just give a little context. Just
Okay.
like a little context. I feel I am entitled as a national media member who has been on the Kings to some level of additional respect from those who make decisions for the team.
Got you.
And I think in this matchup, there will be almost no one covering this series from a Kings lens that's national. It'll be all about the Warriors. I am thinking about the Kings. Mm-hmm. So I feel like one should kind of like factor that in. You know, like you want respect as a team from the national media. You got it. So let's not make it more difficult than it needs to be. That's it. I got to like send a million emails and like I'm jumping through hoops like I'm covering the Warriors in the height of their reign. And then like you talk to the Warriors and it's like 10 minutes, you're good. So yeah, that part bothered me. And then today I had a group of kids threaten to beat me and my dog's ass.
What?
At the park. Because one of them wanted to pet Emma and Emma's a rescue. And I was like, don't do that. And they were like, oh, she attacks me, then I'm going to beat her ass. And I was like, no, you're not. So that started the day off weird. So it's been like aggressive energy for like 24 straight hours.
Oh. And then Butcher Boy was on the show before you, and that didn't help.
And I like live streamed it, and I was getting mad because it was like way more reasonable with you than he is, you know? And I was like, this is so fake. And then I did another hit, which was keeping me from jumping on to like get involved in the mix. And then they had like a strip club / champagne room ad like right before I came on that I asked them about that they were like very suspect on. The whole day has been a little weird.
Is this Memphis?
No, it's Rochester, which is even better. It would have been funny if it was Memphis, actually.
Rochester, that's our roots. It's our roots.
Yeah. They root for the Kings.
I was going to say, were you talking Kings Warriors in Rochester?
I was.
Oh, okay.
Do they really
again?
Like, do they like really like, hey, we like the Kings?
Yes. Yes. You know, a part of the beef that I have is I go on like 8 of these things a week, and all I do is just pump the Kings tires. It's all I do. I do it in Buffalo. I do it in Memphis. I do it in Philly. I do it in New York. I just like the little Kings paddy wagon all around the country. And everybody's like, oh, Trysta, you've been stumping for the Kings this whole year. And I'm like, yeah, you would think someone would care from the Kings.
We're going to get this taken care of.
I know.
We're going to get this taken care of. We're going to have an amazing Saturday night. We're going to have an amazing weekend together. I am sorry. Are you drinking out of a Louis Vuitton water bottle?
What?
No, this is not.
Oh, okay. Oh, you see how that got me, right? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Is that the monogrammed LV on your? Okay.
That would be hard.
Oh, I mean, Kenny probably got a couple in his.
You would probably have texted me and asked me for the link to it.
Okay, calm down.
Hey, what up? Yeah.
Okay, I feel calmer now.
We're gonna have a great Saturday night. We're gonna have a great weekend. You're gonna have a great couple of days here in Sacramento. We're gonna keep you out of the public house. We're gonna get you all the Coke Zero that you need. We're gonna be good. And we're gonna watch Kings basketball.
I don't even want to ask. Your boys know you're coming back?
Which boys?
Your friends from your was it public house? The
Oh yeah, the mob guy?
Yeah,
probably.
Avoid that.
I like public house. I feel like they'd probably be very accommodating to get me into the Golden One. I feel like I might be freaking courtside if I reach out to.
We don't need to get them involved. we don't.
And if you do, just keep our names out of it. just to be clear, we roll in different circles. Just keep our names out.
In all seriousness, basketball analyst Trysta Krick, how you feel about this Kings Warriors series? Like, how do you see it playing out?
Oh man, I think a lot of it depends on Andrew Wiggins. I know he's going to be minutes restriction for the first few games, like 20, 25 minutes is what I heard. So that matters. I think if he's.
Heard that before. I haven't heard that yet. That's
I think that came maybe from Dibley. from 95.7. We had him on our show last night. I think he said he thought he was going to come off the bench for 20 to 25 minutes a game, which I think is he might start game 1 and maybe come off the bench game 2. I don't know. He was making it seem like Andrew Wiggins was not going to be playing, 35 minutes a game, which I think is really interesting. I think that's the non-Andrew Wiggins moments will be important. I heard you say this, which I fully agree with, Kenny. The non-Steph Curry minutes are going to be really important. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's when you need big game, big time shots from Malik Monk, guys off the bench. I'm curious how the rotations are going to be in order to, take advantage of that. Sabonis needs to stay out of foul trouble. Yeah. I think that extracurricular between him and Draymond Green's fascinating. I know that Draymond will try to get in his head. I don't think that's going to work. But the size advantage is, I think, Sabonis's strength advantage, youth advantage. It's really all about whether the Warriors are hitting their shots and whether they're clamping down on D. And listen, man, Steph Curry's he's him, right? He's going to always be him until he's not playing basketball. So I'm worried about the matchup. I don't love this as a first round series for rooting for the Kings. I just don't.
Is there one that you would have?
Clippers.
Oh,
everybody wanted the Clippers.
Yeah.
Just because I just don't think that without Paul George, they can score enough. Yeah. And they barely beat Phoenix's C team while Saban Lee was giving them buckets. So I was a little shocked that the Kings didn't play all their starters against the Warriors that important game, because that could have kicked the Warriors down to 7, and then you either play the Clippers or the Lakers. And I don't know, would you rather play the Warriors or the Lakers from like a matchup perspective?
Probably the Warriors.
Yeah. There's just a level of fear when you're talking about playing the defending champs that can go on the difference between the Warriors and the Lakers is the Warriors can go on a 28-4 run in like 3 minutes. They can hit 16 threes before you go and get a drink of water from your Louis Vuitton water bottle. So that part's really scary. They're certainly older, more lethargic than they've been in prior years. But again, like I still am worried. And I'm worried about the amount of Golden State fans that are going to be in the building. They're just, there's a level of, I almost feel like empathetic to the same degree as some Kings fans. I don't want the arena to go cold. I want everyone to remain hopeful and faithful, no matter if they go on a run or not.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. The run's going to happen. That's the way the Warriors play. The run's going to happen. Just don't let it happen after the ball's tipped in the air. Don't let the crowd, which is probably going to be in a frenzy for a lengthy period of time, don't give them an opportunity to cool down. Keep it hot. If the run comes in the second, that's part of the game. If the run comes in the third, that's part of the game. Maybe try to avoid a fourth quarter run, but like the Kings are never, and I think everyone who watches Kings basketball has learned this. The Kings are never out of games. Just, for the first playoff game in 16 years, take advantage of your home court. If the Warriors are a bad road team, and every metric suggests that they are, make sure they know they're on the road. Mm-hmm. Because if there's Warriors fans there, and there may be a few, I don't think it's going to be anything like crazy. I'm sure there'll be Warriors fans there. Don't give them an opportunity to cheer. Mm-hmm. Keep that energy that the crowd is going to have before the game starts. Keep it through tip. Keep it through the first quarter, and then just let the game settle into its pace.
Yeah, drown those Warriors fans out.
Yeah, the Kings fans have done it before. Right. They've run Lakers fans out of the building. They've run Warriors fans. Like do it this time. This is the most important time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we doing a pregame steak, or what are we doing?
We do whatever you want. I don't think the steakhouse is open yet, but
you know what? It's right because it's a 5:30 game. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll do something.
I'll talk about it later.
You don't want to plan our social schedule here on the show?
I was like, are we doing that other thing Saturday and Tuesday, or just Tuesday?
What was the other thing?
Oh, with
CBS?
Yeah,
I think we're doing both.
That's what I thought too.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking really nice in these two games because we have some TV commitments that you can stick around for. Yeah, so we'll be looking extra fly.
I have a question that's not related to this series that I want your feedback on. I tweeted about it. I did something. I went on WFAN on Saturday night, and I talked about the fact that Luka might want out and that the Mavs believe and they fear that there will be at some point a time where Luka will ask out. And quite logically, because Jalen is there, maybe the Knicks are a place or a destination. You know, obviously Madison Square Garden. I thought people would call in and say 80-20, yes, we would love Luka. And it was 80-20, no. Absolutely do not want Luka on our team. I think, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys think. We're at a Luka inflection point where the public opinion on Luka is now plummeting.
Yeah.
People think, this is what they said, he's a cancer, he's toxic, he's ruining the game, he's hard to watch, he's not a good teammate. This was 25 calls of this. Some people from Dallas, literally in Dallas now.
I don't disagree. I don't think Luka's ruining the game, but I don't disagree with much of the other stuff. I mean, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know if he's a cancer or not. I know, like, he's hard to watch. I think it's tough to be a Luka Doncic teammate. And we've talked about this before as we were your home for Dallas Mavericks radio last week for reasons known to no one. But if Luka's on the market and you're a general manager, you have to really assess, one, what does our roster look like if we make a move? Because it's a haul. No matter what we criticize Luka for, it's a haul to land him. And two, and this is the most important part. This is the question the Dallas Mavericks have to answer. My guy's 24 years old. Is he going to change as a basketball player? So he's 24 years old. He's been a pro probably for like a decade, though.
Yeah.
Like Ricky Rubio was.
Right.
Like he's been a pro for a really long time. Can his game change? Can his game become more inviting to high-level talent? Because if the answer is no, I don't know how Dallas moves forward with him. And strangely, I don't know how any team acquires him.
So at this point, or at some point, Luka could possibly be untradeable.
He could be, absolutely. Like you said it perfectly. His approval rating is down, like down.
I mean, because the two things that I see with him that I don't like is he's not a leader. Like I say all the time, Trysta, he's an unbelievably talented basketball player, unbelievable talent. But I don't know if he can be your best guy. He's not a leader. He doesn't make others better in that respect. Like he'll pass the ball to the open man, but he doesn't seem to inspire others or anything like that. And if he's not the best guy, if he can't be like the best guy and be the leader, can he play with somebody else that's just as good, if not better than him? We saw it a little bit with Kyrie. I don't think they had a problem getting their stats, but it was far from winning basketball.
Yeah, I think that's important. And I think that's what made Jalen Brunson so incredibly, immensely important, because he was able and willing, and his ego was able and willing to take a very big backseat to Luka while still knowing what he was capable of. And according to those who were around the organization, kind of the glue guy, kind of the connector, the real leader, the one that calmed Luka down, the one that really just kept the vibes high, the chemistry high. And it's really hard to find a guy who's as good as Jalen Brunson, who's willing to take that backseat and still be the alpha and an emotional leader and real leader on the team, while you have another guy making $40 million a year who's out of shape and is incredibly talented, but not doing the things that you would normally have someone who's making that money do.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about with that real quick, Trysta had a video I saw over the weekend. It wasn't on her show. She was on somebody else's show. And we talked about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban was like, oh, everything was fine until, the dads got involved with Jalen Brunson and all this other stuff. Trysta brought up a point that I completely forgot. Sir, he was a restricted free agent. If you wanted him, you could have signed him. You just didn't want to pay him. And Mark Cuban be looking a little funny.
Oh, we talked
like Mark Cuban wanted him to take, less money for what reason again?
And quite frankly, they weren't sure whether they wanted to trade him or not last year, which is why they waited until the trade deadline to offer him the 4-year, $55 million extension. And once the trade deadline happened, Jalen Brunson and his dad were like, well, yesterday's price isn't today's price. You could have offered us prior to the deadline the 4 years, $55 million. We would have accepted it happily. But now we're going to test free agency and see. And then they miscalculated again, thinking that the Knicks were going to need to do a sign-in trade in order for that deal to get done. And they moved cap space around to the point where they could just sign Jalen Brunson without the Mavericks at all, and they lost him for nothing. They've just screwed the entire thing up, including how you tank. I've never heard of anyone tanking so bad in my life. You should not have Jason Kidd come out and say, hey, my bosses are telling me that no one can play, and if it was up to me, everyone would play, and, you know, but it's best for the organization. It's like, you're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. You're snitching on your team.
I told you that organization turned Jason Kidd into an idiot. Like, that dude can't do anything right. He's like Dumb and Dumber now that he's in Dallas. Like, he cannot do anything right.
It is a mess in Dallas.
It's a mess in Dallas. It's a mess in Houston. It's a mess in Minnesota. It's a mess in Detroit. These teams need to get it together.
I agree.
Real quick, who you got tonight?
I like the Heat. I like Trae Young over 4.5 turnovers. That boy turns the ball over more than you can even imagine against Jimmy Butler. I think he had 9 turnovers the last game. So I like that quite a bit. I like Trae Young under points. It's a running joke now. Trae Young in the playoffs, take the under on his points. Take the under on his threes. Take the over on his turnovers. That's been very profitable, like 90% profitable endeavor. I like the Timberwolves plus 8.5 a lot.
Really? Plus 8.5. But
plus 8.5. I don't think they're going to win that game, but I like them plus 8.5. I think the Pelicans sneak into the first round. I think they get the 8 seed. I think they beat the Timberwolves the second time around. The matchup favors them. They should have beat them the first time. And boy, how dumb was Jaden McDaniels breaking his own hand?
Damn.
That you talk about organizations that are a mess. Minnesota is at the top of that list. You know that we love you.
Yep, I know you got to get breaks and all that.
No, don't worry about that. We want the vibe. We want the vibes in the proper place.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a good weekend.
We're gonna get Trysta's vibes in place.